So it's a refresh. Yes. New font. Yes, that has been my baby for the last several months.
Mr. Harris, a royal coach person.
That's right.
Everyone, I know it's a beautiful evening out there, but you're all here to support Metro and our communities. And we have a fairly light agenda for today, but let's get right into it and see where it takes us. I think we always start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have hearings from citizens, and I just want to remind everybody that we really thank you for your interest in providing comments to the SORTA board. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes per person. And the board does not respond directly to public comments during the meeting. Comments are taken under advisement. And I really do appreciate any speakers who are here. I have 3, but at the end of that, if there's anybody else who wants to, just let me know. The first person who signed up is Edith Stoops. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm new at this. Robert Harris is my godfather. So I'm here to request transportation be reinstated or started at 2 agencies because they originally were for both the handicapped and low-income families. I'm considering 2 routes, which are a program called New Path Family Solutions, East Campus. That's on Sutton Road. And the other is Stepping Stones, the original one on Givens Road. This summer, they have half the kids that could be there, can't be there because they can't get there. And they can't get staff to come because they have no transportation. I've also would like your consideration for improving the metro system, or access to be exact. The transportation is not reliable. You're either extremely late or extremely early, and during bad weather, being extremely early means you're outside waiting for someone to show up to open the doors. And on April 5th at 12:15, I was picked up from my church, but I did not get home until 2:15. Well, that is kind of ridiculous. And I went everywhere from Norwood to Oakley to Hyde Park and then back down to Mount Healthy. And as they were going to Mount Healthy, they passed my street twice. I asked the driver if he could stop and drop me off because I have only 1 kidney, so that makes long waits a problem. But he was rude and said, I'm going to take what the bus schedule says. And, I later called for a supervisor that afternoon and was told there's no such supervisor on weekends. So if there was an accident or something, you guys would have been in trouble. I had called them 3 other times to report late buses and long waits, and they still never call back. I've left messages, even this week, twice. No phone call. And many of the people who schedule it are rude. And they treat and talk to you like you're a little kid. I'm not a little kid, and I don't want to be talked to like one. So I know that this chair cannot fit on the regular Metro bus, so Access is the only dependable transportation I have. I've lost 2 jobs because they got me late, and I'm looking for work now, but everybody says unless you get reliable transportation, you cannot work for them. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Justin Bloomhurst? Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, I'm Justin Blumhorst. I serve as the Chief Innovation Officer of Capabilities. Our mission is to bridge the gap between talented people with disabilities and employers seeking team members. While we've seen positive strides through the Reinventing Metro initiative, a significant system barrier remains: the 3/4 mile rule for access paratransit service. Currently, Metro Access service is limited to within 3/4 of a mile of regular non-express fixed routes. While this meets the minimum requirements of the ADA, it creates transit deserts that effectively bar citizens with disabilities from reaching key employment hubs in Hamilton County. For example, we did work with Edie, and she was looking to find a job with New Path Child and Family Solutions at 274 Sutton Road, and also at Stepping Stones at 5650 Given Road, both those positions remain completely inaccessible to people who rely on paratransit at this time. When the route ends, so does the opportunity for independence for so many of the people that we serve. These are not just transportation issues, they're lost paychecks, unfilled positions for local businesses, and a direct hit to our regional economy. So there is an economic case for the county-wide access. Access to transportation is the most single important factor in whether an individual with a disability can maintain employment. When we limit paratransit to narrow, buffer, or fixed routes, we are shrinking the labor pool. So employers like New Path and Stepping Stones face labor shortages, and while qualified workers sit at home because they live or work 0.8 miles from a bus stop instead of 0.75 miles. There's reducing tax revenue. When an individual secures a job, they transition from relying on subsidies to becoming an active taxpayer. And there's increasing long-term cost. Reliable transit prevents the isolation that leads to higher healthcare costs and institutionalization, too. For Hamilton County to be a leader in inclusion and economic growth, we must move toward consistent county-wide paratransit service. A person's ability to work should not be dictated by a 3/4 mile map boundary. We urge the board to consider expanding the access service area to encompass all of Hamilton County. By doing so, you are not just moving buses, you're moving our workforce towards a more prosperous and inclusive future. I'd welcome the opportunity to discuss how Capabilities can partner with SORTA to identify further gap areas and work towards a solution that serves all citizens of Hamilton County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I think everybody knows our next speaker, Mr. Robert Harris, former board member, twice former board member. It's great to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, as always, for all that you do and all that you have done and for all that you are planning to do and will do. I have just been really super blessed by being able to have been around for over 21 years. And thank you. And I am not dead yet. You know, doctors gave me up when I was 8 months old. I contracted meningitis, and they told my parents then at that time that I would be dead in 3 days. That was in 1946, and it's been a long 3 days. because I will be 80 in August, and so I'm happy that I'm still here. And my goddaughter that just made the first presentation, I am just very proud of her because she was literally considered irritably mentally retarded is the title they gave her. And that she was expected not to be able to learn, to think, to do anything, and especially not live, let alone work. Well, she has lived, she has worked. We managed, by the grace of God and a lot of people, different agencies all around, including the one she's working with now. And she graduated not only from regular school, but from high school. And not only that, she graduated from college. And she's now working. And the only thing now that is stopping her is because we still have not created a world, not finished working on it, and we're still working on it, to create a world where everyone is given the opportunity based on their desire and their merits and their umph to do and to live. And so I'm just asking you to consider expanding, which is what you always do, and I'm here to help. I'm 79, going on 80. I plan on living to 100. So if you need me, call me. I'm not hiding. I'm out in the street all the time. And in this fact, I'm riding in a fancy wheelchair. It goes up and down. You know, I can get to my regular height, which is a little bit lower than this. But thank you for listening to us. Let us know what you want done because, you know, we call her Dee Dee. Her name is Edith, but she doesn't like Edith. So, you know, Dee Dee is what she's called. So let me know what to do. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm still alive. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Was there any other people here today who would like to address the board? All right, well, we always appreciate it, and I thank all three of our community members who came today to address the board and let us know what they're thinking about. All right. Chair update is next. I just wanted to highlight two amazing events and really the people in Metro and the partners that supported those events recently. And I think you know what I'm speaking of, the release of the newly designed stops signs. That was an absolutely amazing event. And I guess it's not really about the event so much, but about what it represents. I've been on this board, I think, about 8 years, a little bit more. And when I was first on, we were looking at stops and aligning stops, designing stops, making sure that the system was designed well. And we went through that stop realignment project. And then I'm honestly not sure who, but staff went and made a partnership with DAP at UC and went through the amazing design project to work with students there to design these stops. And we got some funding. It was nice to have Congressman Landsman there at the event to talk about that and his support for Metro. And what this means is, was it, how many was it again, John? How many stops is it? 3,700? Well, I think Steve Anderson said it was 3,699 to go. But this is a new face for our stops. It will address ridership by letting people know in a very clear and accessible way where the stops are, where they can get on the bus. And I think that it's just great, the partnership from other community entities and everybody within Metro to realize this. The second is the rollout of our first 2 fully electric vehicles. That was an amazing event. I mean, huge turnouts at both of these two events. I think Metro is taking a very deliberate, careful, thoughtful, strategic approach to working with electric vehicles. We're going to have 4 more coming in and then 7, so there'll be a total of 13. And we will learn through this engagement with them how this technology works, how it works in our environment, how to support it on a maintenance side, how they operate, talking to the drivers who are there about operating these vehicles. They liked them, I'll tell you that. It's an important step. We already have our hybrids, which I think are working great in the Hamilton County environment. And we're really tuning those to serve the community well. So I think we're moving forward in a great way to embrace this new technology and make sure we understand it before we jump in anymore. So these are just great events. I do want to call out the maintenance team at Metro. For those of you who didn't see, they built a giant switch for us to move to turn on the buses for the first time, which is great, other than ribbon cutting. But beyond that, they've done a massive amount of work on bringing these vehicles into the fleet, bringing it into the operations. Probably 1,000, if not more, different decisions that had to be made in order to make them work and support them. And they did that, my understanding, with gusto, with expertise, Mr. Harris, with some oomph, and they got it done. So I think it's a great month with those events. And if I may, Andy, it's not just that month. Both of these projects are actually culminations of years of effort from the entire organization and our partners to get to those points. Huge stepping stones in reinventing Metro, but also moving beyond reinventing Metro. So I've taken my 5 minutes there. And I hope you follow up on that if you haven't already. All right, action items and committee meetings. First we have to approve our board minutes. Any questions or concerns? If not, motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded before I finish talking. I appreciate that. You guys are great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say left. Abstentions. The minutes are approved. Let me throw Finance Committee over to Ms. Clark.
Thank you so much, Mr. Etheridge. Good evening, everyone, members of the board. We had a wonderful Finance Committee meeting. Of course, reviewed financial performance, including impacts on fuel costs, and we also had an internal audit update from Clark Schaefer and Mr. Bowie. The committee was pretty satisfied with the reports, and we progressed per the usual. With that very brief summary, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Walker to give us a full financial picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. First off, we'll go through real quick some high-level numbers here. Total revenue came in for the month at $15.3 million, which was slightly unfavorable by about $328,000 to our budget. The main drivers, we had 3 main drivers within there. One was our sales tax came in a little slightly less than what we had budgeted by about $250,000. Fair revenue was slightly off budget, along with investment income. Nothing that is too alarming thus far. Looking down at the expenses, they came in at $14.2 million. They were favorable, or we spent less than what we had budgeted on those items. Couple ups and downs within there. Really want to highlight the fuel expense to the board. We've all been reading about the conflict in Iran. March was fully embraced with that as far as the volatility within fuel prices. For us, it was favorable. Our variance was favorable, so we spent less than what we had expected, primarily because of the hedging activities that we did. So the hedging gains for the month were almost $400,000. So without our hedging program in place, this is essentially a $4 million problem for us as an organization. But we have a hedging program in place, 90% hedged the rest of the year, and we're comfortable with our levels and the price that we have there. Netting those two numbers together, it's always good to see the revenue number higher than the expense number. Is an operating capital contribution of about $1.2 million. That was unfavorable to the budget by about $143,000. Again, nothing too alarming or noticeable within that. Looking at our ridership figures for the month, they were slightly unfavorable to budget, but greater than they were last year at this time. Natalie, if we go to the next page. This is where we just want to really look at the year-to-date numbers. So focus on the right side of the page. You can see our total revenue came in at $41.57 million for the first 3 months of the year. That is unfavorable to the budget by about $750,000 for the first 3 months. But going down to the bottom, you can see the expense line, our expenses are favorable compared to budget by $763,000. So we do the math there. You can see that we're $13,000 greater than what we had budgeted thus far during the year for our operating capital contribution. We still show a negative contribution for the first 3 months, but that's expected based on our budgeting. But again, we are outperforming our budget for the year. Next page, Natalie. And this is our favorite slide, or sales tax. As we all know, sales tax drives about 70% of our revenue as an organization. And we received our first month's worth of actual information in January, and it was slightly less than what we had budgeted, but greater than it was last year. So, I think things are trending positively on the sales tax side. And again, as always, we keep an eye on this one, but 70% of our revenue is sales tax. So we pay close attention to that each and every month and manage our expenses accordingly. Any questions from the group here? All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay, that's it?
That's it.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Thank you so much, Finance Committee. All right, so planning and ops, Mr. Metz.
Yeah, we had a good but relatively brief planning and ops meeting, as I recall it from last week. Got updates on ridership, which were generally positive, even if slightly under budget improvements year over year. Really good updates on Metro Rapid and the important engagement work and sort of the key critical paths that project is coming to in a couple of places, including the work that they've been doing on TOD, transit-oriented development, and sort of a framework for growth around the Metro Rapid corridors, which is exciting. We have 2 action items on the consent agenda, both of which are fairly straightforward, but again, another sort of suite of bus replacement parts. So continuing to see that sort of new approach to acquiring parts and supporting our maintenance work continuing to move forward. So I think I can make a motion to to approve the consent agenda if there are no questions. In fact, I think I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
And I just want to comment on the parts, just like we heard with fuel hedging, this is getting budget stability by locking in the prices, and it's amount of work on the procurement side and maintenance side, and I'm sure others to get this done. So I think it's great. I was reading through the parts list, and I was impressed that people manage all those different types of parts. It's quite a list. So I think there's a motion.
Yep.
Questions, comments? This is a roll call.
Ms. Hamat?
Yes.
Mr. Bryce?
Yes.
Ms. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Moss?
Yes.
And Ms. Sheets?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll yield back my time, as I say.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, we have progress and priorities.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Couple updates like we like to do as we go throughout the year, kind of look behind the scenes and some things that this board is aware of, but as they get into motion and operation, like to provide updates. We continue to engage with our state legislative caucus. This time last year, we were in the middle of the budget season when it's a biennial budget in Columbus. This is not a budget year, but we continue to do that engagement. You can see the representatives on the screen there that we invited to Metro over the last week and a half and had great discussions with them, give them an update on what we're doing, but also see what they're up to and how we can help as they try to move Ohio forward. The second piece is that we submitted a request to Congressman Landsman to ask him and his office to submit a project funding request for our community funding project process at the federal level, and his team did so. So they've submitted an application to the federal government for $2.8 million for the mirrorless camera system. So this is a system that we have piloted on a couple vehicles. It's essentially a camera instead of a rear view mirror. And when the bus driver looks there where the mirror would be, internal to the bus, there is a screen with a high-res camera that looks down the side of the bus. The pilot program has been incredibly successful. One, it takes away that piece of equipment that hangs off of the bus. But two, it's incredible in low light, no light, rain, because it has fisheye. It avoids any typical, physical mirror blind spot down the side of the bus. So this project, if awarded, would allow us to retrofit the fleet. And then on future bus procurements, we can add that as standard equipment. So it would get us up to speed quickly. Hopeful that comes through, and just thankful for Congressman Landsman for supporting the project. Again, continuing in terms of investing in technology for safety. You see a picture here on the bottom of the screen is the club room renovation project at Queensgate, which was the biggest of all of the club rooms, is complete. And you can see our launch here. This is part of becoming an effective organization and celebrating and supporting our frontline workforce. All the credit here goes to our Chief of Staff, John Ravazio. This was his baby and his project that he pushed forward, and you can see the vision was fulfilled. So thanks, John and team, PMO team, and the maintenance team, and everybody else who worked on this. Again, this is one of many different break rooms and club rooms throughout the facilities that are being renovated. So thanks for the incredible work there from the team. Lastly, I'll talk about our marketing team. As you all know, you approved the contract with a new marketing agency called Gatesman. They have done work on transit throughout the country. They have developed a strategy in a concert with our team here and Brandy and her team, and they came to town to kind of present the strategy as it stands now and get feedback from the executive team. I'm thrilled. It responds directly to what this board has talked about in two ways. One, this is going from kind of reputational marketing to much more tactical marketing. You heard about the campaign for Park and Rides. The ability to measure the ROI and put ads in certain geographical areas and see that resulting ridership or adoption of transit app activity, very data-driven approach to marketing, and we're excited that has launched and is now in its first quarter of operation. One of the other things that we're doing is something that we had talked about in one of our sessions here, was building personas of riders, right? So who are we going after? What is the use case that we want to present to them, and why should transit fit into their life? So really exciting stuff and helping to push that vision of growing ridership. You talked about the zero emission vehicle, so I'll, as Pete did, cede my time back to you. Any questions that anybody has? I guess lastly, I would just like to respond to some of the comments that we heard from our partners today. Thank you for providing those comments. Dee Dee, Justin, Mr. Harris, we'll follow up with you after the meeting so we make sure that we have your contact information. I mean, we're committed to providing great customer service, and we will address these issues that you brought to us for sure. The other piece is the discussion about how much paratransit service can we provide in this community is something that we talk about and we'll continue to talk about. Just for board's education, for those of you who aren't aware, wherever we provide fixed route bus service, we are required by ADA to provide complimentary paratransit or access service within 3/4 of a mile of that route. As we have grown the fixed route system in Hamilton County, our paratransit footprint has also grown, but it does not cover 100% of Hamilton County, and there are gaps for folks that live further than that 3/4 of a mile. So that's just a little bit of context. Thank you for coming, and we'll follow up. Happy to take any questions.
Just wanted to have a brief comment, but I really, really, really am in all of these club rooms that you've done. I was at an airport a couple months ago, and that lounge had nothing on this. This looks really good, truly. I don't know if you all remember the pictures that existed before. It was. We had some work to do. There were metal chairs, fold-out metal chairs. There's a lot going on, and so I think that it's rare, especially in the times that we have where economics are so tight and there's penny pinching all the way around as the top is trying to get so much more of those dollars, to see an organization put millions of dollars and invest it in those frontline workers so that they are rested, they are ready, they feel like it's an extension of home and can prepare their meals in nice, clean, updated surroundings. I mean, that means a lot to our drivers and our operators that are working such extended hours. And I think this is a really, really beautiful thing. I call it a passion project, but I know that that's not fair. But job well done.
Well said.
I'll second that.
All right. I'll say that we had a meeting with John, and he was in the room, and so got to see a little bit of it in action, which was great. But I also want to say all the people that were so happy going through it, getting to see that and get a little sneak peek in, and how everybody wanted to come over and say a kind word to John for his amazing work on it. That was cool to see. It showed that real deep appreciation. So good work. I'm glad it's working out for everybody. All right. Any other comments? Questions? New business? Am I forgetting something? Okay. Well, without any new business, we are adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone.